देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवती नैष्टिकी। Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 9, Chapter 15. Parshurama, the Lord's warrior incarnation, text number 41. This is the last verse in this chapter. Rajño Murdha Abhishiktasya Rajño Murdha Abhishiktasya Rajño Murdha Abhishiktasya Vadho Brahma Vadhad Guruhu Vadho Brahma Vadhad Guruhu Vadho Brahma Vadhad Guruhu Tirtha Samsevaya Chamho Tirtha Samsevaya Chamho Tirtha Samsevaya Chamho Jahi Anga Achyuta Chetanaha Jahyanga Achyuta Chetanaha Jahyanga Achyuta Chetanaha Rajño Murdha Abhishiktasya Vadho Brahma Vadhat Guruhu Tirtha Samsevaya Chamho Jahyanga Achyuta Chetanaha Rajño Murdha Abhishiktasya Samsevaya Chamho Jahyanga Achyuta Chetanaha Rajño Murdha Abhishiktasya Vadho Brahma Vadhat Guruhu Tirtha Samsevaya Chamho Jahyanga Achyuta Chetanaha Rajño Murdha Abhishiktasya Vadho Brahma Vadhat Guruhu Tirtha Samsevaya Chamho Jahyanga Achyuta Chetanaha Rajñaha of the king Murdha Abhishiktasya who is noted as the emperor Vadhaha the killing Brahma Vadhat than killing a Brahmana Guruhu more severe Tirtha Samsevaya by worshipping the holy places Cha also Amhaha the sinful act Jahi wash out Anga O my dear son Achyuta Chetanaha being fully Krishna conscious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. My dear son, killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. Surprising what Jamadagni is saying. Killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. Why is he telling this? Because in the Shastras it is said, of all types of killing, killing a Brahmana is the most sinful. And Tulsi Pradakshina we do every day. Yani kani chapa pani, Brahma hatyadi kani cha. Whatever sinful activity somebody might have done, including the topmost sinful activity, which is Brahma hatya. Tani tani pranashyanti pradakshina pade pade. All those sinful reactions are completely nullified simply by circumambulating Tulsi. So, since the scriptures describe Brahma Hatya as the topmost sin, here Jamadagni is warning his son, killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. But now, if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places, you can atone for this great sin. So he's pointing out you have committed a great sin by killing the king, but you can also atone for it. That means you can become freed from the sinful reaction for this killing if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places. Please repeat this translation. My dear son, killing a king who is an emperor is more severely sinful than killing a Brahmana. But now, if you become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places, you can atone for this great sin. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. One who fully surrenders to the Supreme Personality of Godhead is freed from all sins. Aham tvam sarvapapebhyo mokshayishyami. From the very day or moment he fully surrenders to Sri Krishna, even the most sinful person is freed. Nonetheless, as an example, Jamadagni advised his son Parshurama to worship the holy places. Because an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is advised to go from one holy place to another to find saintly persons and thus gradually be released from sinful reactions. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta purports of the 9th canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Parshurama, the Lord's Warrior Incarnation. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Krishna Rama Hare Hare. So the title of the chapter itself is Parshurama, the Lord's warrior incarnation. But he has appeared as the son of a Brahmana. Generally, a Kshatriya will take birth in a Kshatriya family as a son of a Kshatriya. But there are exceptions. And this is an exception. And it's also mentioned he is the incarnation of the Lord. So, incarnation of the Lord, there is no question of any sin. Whatever activity he performs, there is no question of any sin. So, these descriptions are made in the Bhagavatam not to find fault with Parshurama, but to warn us that this killing business is not at all desirable. Killing business is not desirable. As far as possible, everyone, at least all human beings, should try to avoid killing. So much so that we have examples of Jadabharata and Mrigari, one who was a hunter who became a devotee by the association of Narad Muni. Such exalted devotees, they even hesitate to kill an ant. So you can imagine how much careful we have to be not to kill even an insignificant creature. So if killing an ant also is to be avoided, how can killing a king who is an emperor be justified? It's never okay to kill a king who is an emperor. Because the scriptures describe the king is also called Naradeva. He is the representative of the Supreme Lord for the people in general, for the citizens of the state or the country or the province he is ruling. So actually the citizens should worship the king. Even when Parikshit was cursed by the small boy, Shringi, the son of the sage Shamika Rishi. Shamika Rishi said, "You've done a big mistake. For a small, minor mistake that the king has done, you have given him a disproportionate punishment. He doesn't deserve to be killed at all." This is a statement of Shamika Rishi. And Shamika Rishi even prayed to the Supreme Lord, kindly pardon this boy. He has done a very, 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 very big mistake. Because he is a small boy. So kindly pardon. So therefore, the scriptures contain instructions which we have to understand from the medium of the Acharya. Otherwise, we will be confused or we will be having doubts as to how to apply certain instructions. Application is not very easy, though the instruction may be very simple. Application is not very easy. Just like Ambarish Maharaj, he had a guest when he was just about to break his fast, Ekadashi fast. And he had to receive the guest, Durvasa Muni. And only after feeding Durvasa Muni, he could take his prasadam, he could break his fast. But the Durvasa Muni is not yet finished his bath, he is not yet taken prasadam, and time for breaking the fast is running out. And if he does not break the fast in time, his Ekadashi Vrata observance is not complete. And why is he doing the Vrata? Why does a devotee do any Vrata? Only to please the Supreme Lord. A devotee never performs Vrata for his material benefit, for his personal liberation, for getting some mystic power. No. He always does any Vrata simply to please the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yad juhoshi dadasi yat tapasyasi kaunteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Whatever austerities you perform, you do it as an offering to me. Offering to Krishna means for pleasing Krishna. Tadartham karma kaunteya mukta sanga samachara. Tadartham karma kaunteya means what? For pleasing Vishnu, work has to be done as a sacrifice. Pleasing Vishnu. So therefore, Ambarish Maharaj considered that I want to please Vishnu by properly observing this Ekadashi Vrata. And a part of the Vrata is to break the fast at the right time. In the 17th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, it is said, those who unnecessarily torture the body, their austerity is in the mode of ignorance, and they are regarded as unnecessarily giving trouble to the super soul within. Which is that verse? In the 17th chapter. Austerity in the mode of goodness, passion, ignorance. Krishna describes the description of the austerity in the mode of ignorance. Mahapurana, read that verse. You sit with Bhagavad Gita hard copy. See the difficulty in locating that verse. You turn few pages, you immediately get it. This mobile, something happens and you touch a wrong button and then it goes off somewhere and then, okay, read. not recommended in the scriptures. Out of pride he performs. No, not that one. That is demoniac nature. 16th chapter, 17th chapter. Ah, 19th verse of the 17th chapter. Mudha grahena atmano yat pidaya kriyate tapaha. Pidaya means by torture. By torture, somebody performs austerities. Pidaya kriyate tapaha. Parasyot sadhanartham va tat tamasam uda rutam. Those penances and austerities which are performed foolishly by means of obstinate self-torture or to destroy or injure others are said to be in the mode of ignorance. So here in the purport, Srila Prabhupada says there are instances of foolish penance undertaken by demons like Hiranyakashipu, who performed austere penances to become immortal and kill the demigods. He prayed to Brahma for such things, but ultimately he was killed by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So, of course, this is an example of undergoing penance for something which is impossible. But it also says here, by means of obstinate self-torture. So, the point is that Ekadashi Vrata is a austere performance of austerity. But breaking the fast so that the body is not tortured. Breaking the fast in the right time. So, when he was in this situation that he has to break the fast to please the Lord, at the same time, he has to honor his guest before he takes prasadam. So, when he consulted the Brahmanas were not able to give him definite direction what to do. Then, being a Vaishnava, he knew what is the solution for the problem. Drinking water is considered breaking the fast, particularly when somebody is doing Nirjal Ekadashi fast. Then drinking water is breaking the fast. At the same time, drinking water is considered as not having eaten anything. Not having eaten anything. So, the scriptures say you don't eat before you feed your guest. So, by drinking water, he is not eating anything before feeding his guest. At the same time, he is breaking the Ekadashi Nirjal fast. So, he decided before the time for breaking the fast was over, he took little water. So, therefore, the scriptural instructions or injunctions or directions have to be followed under the guidance of the Acharya, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master. Simply reading some scriptures or hearing some discourses or sentimentally following some rules and regulations by tradition is not the way to actually follow the injunctions of the scriptures. So therefore, here is an example of the sage Jamadagni pointing out to his son that the duty of a Brahmana is to culture the quality of forgiveness. This was elaborately discussed yesterday in the previous verse. Now he is telling that by not forgiving that king for his mistake, for his offense or whatever, his sin, you yourself have become very sinful. There is no such concession given in the scriptures that if somebody kills, then he can be killed. There is no such injunction in the scriptures. Always it is that the specific action, for that there is a specific reaction and a specific atonement. Both are given in the Shastra. So the atonement that is recommended, okay, you have done a sinful activity, but there is an atonement. You can atone for this great sin if you become Krishna conscious. And the specific word used here is very interesting. Achyuta Chetana. Achyuta Chetana. Achyuta is Krishna. Chetana is consciousness. So if you become Krishna conscious and Tirtha Samsevaya, by worshipping the holy places, by becoming Krishna conscious and worshipping the holy places, you can atone for this great sin. And the purport Prabhupada says, actually in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna declares at the end, the conclusion of the Gita, the 66th verse of the 18th chapter is described by Srila Prabhupada as the conclusion of the Gita. What is the conclusion of the Gita? Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchaha. So Prabhupada is quoting part of this verse. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami. For one who fully surrenders to Krishna, sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. You fully surrender to Krishna, then Krishna will free you from all sins. Aham tvam sarva papebhyo. Now, how long does it take after full surrender for Krishna to free the surrendered soul from all reactions, sinful reactions? Prabhupada says, from the very day, not just the day, from the very moment one fully surrenders to Krishna, even the most sinful person is freed from all sinful reactions. This is Krishna's special mercy, extraordinary mercy. Otherwise, the scriptures describe for specific type of sin, for specific sinful activity, there is a specific atonement. And if somebody were to consider some of the prescriptions for atonement, it is very, very difficult to perform. It's like the Chaitanya Charitamrita is an example. There was one Brahmana, what is his name? Buddhimanta Khan. He was somehow ostracized by the Nawab. But Nawab sprinkled some water from his own water pot which he was using for drinking water. So he took that water, which is contaminated water, and sprinkled it on this Buddhimanta Khan. And the Buddhimanta Khan is considered to have been contaminated and hence ostracized from the society of Brahmanas. So then he became very, very unhappy, and then he consulted other Brahmanas, what can I do to become purified of this contamination? So some Brahmanas said, nothing can be done. The rest of the life you have to be living outside the society of Brahmanas. But some Brahmanas said, oh, there is a way of atonement. You have to drink hot boiling ghee, 1 kg or 1 liter or whatever, one say, some measure. And then you can be freed from the contamination, you can be purified of the contamination. So Buddhimanta Khan was very much confused. What should I do? Is it possible that drink boiling hot ghee, 1 kg of it? It's like killing oneself, that's all. So he was very, very unhappy, he was very confused. So he happened to meet Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saved him by instructing him, go to Vrindavan, like here Jamadagni is telling, become Krishna conscious and worship the holy places. Same instruction Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave him. To become Krishna conscious, he told him, chant Hare Krishna and go to Vrindavan. And go to Vrindavan for what? Worship the holy place. How to worship the holy place? That Prabhupada says here. Why is Jamadagni advising his son to worship the holy places? Because an ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna says, you just surrender to me fully, I will free you from all sinful reactions. Nothing more is required to be done. But here, Jamadagni is advising his son, not only you become Krishna conscious, but you also worship the holy places. That's because Prabhupada says, ordinary person cannot immediately surrender to the Supreme Personality of God. So in order to prepare oneself to fully surrender to the Supreme Lord, one has to do something else, something more. What is that? One is advised to go from one holy place to another, because here it is said, worship the holy places. Worship the holy places, not one place. Holy places, plural. So, Prabhupada says in the purport, he is advised to go from one holy place to another to find saintly persons and thus gradually be released from sinful reactions. What will he do after finding saintly persons in the holy place? He will serve them. So serving saintly persons, and where are saintly persons to generally, where are they found? In holy places. So, the scriptures say that one should not go to the holy place just for the sake of merely taking a bath. There's a verse in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada quotes often. Yasyatma buddhi kunape Yat tirtha buddhi salile na karhi chit janeshu abhigneshu sa eva gokharaha. Krishna has spoken this verse in the Bhagavatam, 10th canto, in an assembly of saintly persons. Krishna is glorifying the sages, the saintly persons who make a holy place actually holy. A holy place is holy because the saintly persons who live in the holy place or who visit the holy place sanctify the holy place. Now, holy place, why should it be sanctified? Because the sinful people come there and they leave behind their sins. So, sinful people could be very sinful. And not just one person. Many of them will visit this holy place. So, they leave behind all their sins. Then, the holy place becomes overburdened by sinful reactions. Holy place becomes overburdened by sinful reactions. Then, when the saintly persons specifically refers to pure devotees. When the pure devotees, they visit the holy place or they take bath in the rivers or water bodies, then they actually cleanse the holy place of all sinful reactions. Completely they are able to cleanse the holy place of all sinful reactions. This is explained in the 5th canto of the Bhagavatam. So, a holy place is worth its name as a holy place only by the presence of the saintly person, the pure devotees. Of course, the presence of the Supreme Lord in his deity form is also making a holy place holy. That's also there. Either the presence of the Lord or his pure devotees. So that makes the holy place holy. So, the idea is one visits a holy place or one goes to a holy place and worships the holy place by worshipping the Lord or worshipping the saintly persons. Worshipping the Lord, we know how to worship the Lord. The whole Archana Paddhatis. But worshipping the saintly persons, specifically it is said, one should serve the saintly persons, especially in holy places. Seva, Vaishnava Seva, Vaishnava, Sadhu Seva, Vaishnava Seva. So, serving the holy place means, or worshipping the holy place means, serving the saintly persons who are present in the holy place. By such association, a sinful person gradually becomes released from sinful reactions. Gradually becomes released from sinful reactions. Because this becoming released from sinful reaction is not merely nullifying the sinful reactions, which is very easily possible even by 3 times going around Tulsi Maharani or once taking bath in the river Ganga. Ganga is Vishnu Padodaka, contains the dust of the lotus feet of Vishnu. So simply by touching Ganges water, one can become free from all sinful reactions. But the difficulty is an ordinary person has got the tendency to commit sinful activities, which cannot be nullified by simply touching Ganges water or taking bath in Ganga or simply by circumambulating Tulsi Maharani 3 times. It is not possible. The tendency to commit sinful activities is gradually cleansed by practice of pure devotional service only, and there is no other way. Therefore, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna particularly says, Abhyasa yoga yuktena chetasa na anyagamina paramam purusham divyam yati partha anuchintaya. Abhyasa means practice. Practice means repeatedly doing. So this Abhyasa yoga particularly refers to practice of Bhakti yoga. Bhakti yoga. So only by practicing pure devotional service can the sinful tendency be gradually purified. And when one is fully purified of the sinful tendency, then one comes to the state of yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punyakarmanam te dvandva moha nirmukta bhajante mam dridhavrataha. You see, everything is given in the Gita, Bhagavad Gita. So here, Srila Prabhupada is telling, if you fully surrender to Krishna, you are completely free from all sinful reactions. But it's not possible for ordinary people to immediately surrender to the Supreme Lord. So therefore, gradually, one can be released from sinful reactions and gradually become free from sinful tendency by associating with saintly persons, serving them, and most importantly, following their instructions. Following their instructions. Saintly persons will instruct a ordinary person to actually engage in devotional service of the Supreme Lord. Because they themselves are engaged in that. So they will also teach and instruct and show how to do devotional service to Krishna. And thereby, ordinary person will gradually become released from sinful reactions and become fully purified. I'll stop here. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.